This is your chance to delve deep into the Redhawks spring baseball, softball, football, tennis, and track season.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
let's go live to Wings, etc. Let's go! Right here on SEMO ESPN.
Welcome in another edition of the Redhawks Coaches Show. We are live at Wings, etc., and this is going to wrap up our 5-week run of spring coaches shows. This is show number 5, and we're going to be talking some Redhawks softball coming up. I want to remind you that we invite you to stop by for lunch here at Wings, etc., where on Mondays their award-winning wings are just 59 cents. They have food and drink specials throughout the week, including their daily half-pound lunch specials, which start at just $6.49. And if you love the award-winning jumbo wings, you can do that, just 59 cents on Mondays, or you can try their entire menu. They have freshly made burgers, subs, wraps, quesadillas. If you want to go the entree salad route, they can help you out there as well. And again, their daily half-pound lunch special starting at just $6.49. And don't forget, Wings, etc. in Jackson and Cape, both open late on the weekends because the games run late. Wings, etc. Good food, great times. And as we get ready for the lunch hour to commence, Coach Mark Redburn is here from Southeast Missouri State Softball. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Eric?
I'm doing well. You guys did everything you could not to lose a game to weather in Nashville. It was a trip to Nashville where you faced Tennessee State, took care of them. You took care of Belmont in a rain-shortened game on Sunday. And so I guess the weather did not allow you to play the 4th and final game of the weekend. You had to get that one in yesterday, and Belmont edged you by a run, snapping your 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, they did. Our kids were playing really well, and, we went into the weekend, and we need to play games. And, we came off those 2 wins on Saturday at Tennessee State, and our kids bounced back, kind of gave up 3 runs there in the first inning of game 1 against Tennessee State. But, our kids, settled in and just played the full 7 innings. And, we come back and win that, and then win pretty solidly in the second game. And, we come out on first game either against Belmont. Belmont throws their number 1, against us, obviously, and they're in the hunt. And I really just liked our approach. Our players took at the plate. They really tried to slow things down a little bit. And I told our players it was probably our best game all season long as far as fundamental, softball goes. And runners in scoring position, moving them over to third, then getting a sac fly. We executed really well, and we just put all phases of the game together. And so they're playing really well, and we wanted to definitely stay and play that 4th game. So thankfully, my administration supports us so well. And, I called Cindy, my SWA, and she said, yeah, absolutely, stay over and do what you got to do.
And now the baseball team plays at Rose Park. Is the softball complex over there too?
It is. In fact, we had a couple of players dodging. The wind was amazing. I think they were having like 30-mile-an-hour gusts. So as you know how baseball stadium sits over there, we had some balls flying on the softball field, and our pitcher, Matty Crummery, literally almost took a direct shot in the middle of the game there. But So, no, it was good. It was fine. But, yeah, it's a nice little complex.
And the softball diamonds, now on the intramural fields, they put all the field turf in for anybody that has driven over by Sprigg and Bertling and seen yours. It's all natural grass. Are there any softball fields that are turf?
Yeah, they are. And more of them are going to that now. And, I don't know how I quite feel about it because there's just not enough of them doing it yet. So sure enough, if you're not used to that, then you go play, 1 or 2 conference opponents, and they've got it. It's certainly a different feel. You've got some that are, a little bit faster than others, and you still have to adjust to it, but there's advantages to it and everything. But I'm still an old school guy, and I like the green grass.
So what have you noticed in terms of the games that you did play on turf, and who in the OVC has gone to a turf field?
So far, no one has gone to that yet.
Okay.
But what they are starting to do is, around the back edge and home plate and everything like that, they're, putting in artificial turf and,
Gotcha.
That sort of thing, which, helps with maintenance and everything. But the way things are going within our conference and teams playing games or not playing games, maybe we ought to be considering doing more of that artificial turf.
So as not to lose games. Now that's a real factor here. as you finish. I mean, it's more than just down the stretch. I mean, we're talking 2 more games. That's it. You guys are still alive for a shot to make the top 8. And, of course, that means the Ohio Valley Conference tournament. The difference is, like right now, you have played so far 20 conference games, and a team you're trying to chase down, Morehead State, has played 16 conference games. So weather is an issue now. I know it's not as big an issue now in baseball since they've gone to the 3 games window in 3 different days. But in softball, it's not like that, and you really have to try and get your games in. And there were several times over the years where once a game gets weathered out, any game in the conference at all, then everybody goes to percentages. And right now, an actual rainout that maybe someone may have played and lost, i.e. a Morehead State or a Belmont, that could decide who makes the OVC tournament field of 8.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, of the 12 teams, I guess, in our conference, ourselves and Austin Peay are the only 2 teams that have played all of their conference games. And as you mentioned there, we've got Morehead that's, only played, 16 games. So they've got a 4-game advantage on us. And, so it goes down in percentage, and we just got to figure this thing out as a conference. I really like, how we do it in baseball, the 3 days, over the weekend there. But, right now we've got it set up. We only play 22. So if you lose out on 3 or 4 games, now all of a sudden that's a, big disadvantage or advantage, depending on how you're looking at it. And we just got to figure it out, as a conference and what we're going to do. And instead of trying to play 2 schools over a course of 1 weekend, we settle it down and play just the one, 3 games over 3 days or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, we got to work on that.
What about midweek conference games?
Yeah, it always comes down to the school. Do they have the budget? Did they already travel? Do they want to travel back? Are they in finals?
Gotcha.
And again, that's just too much leeway. And again, I'm just kind of old school. I'm one of those, you play your games, and you do whatever you got to do to play. And that means if you got to stay, 6 or 7 o'clock at night, we've got lights. So, let's play them. But there's a lot of these little different things built in that's a little frustrating. And, our kids are doing everything they can and they're trying to give themselves a chance. And, sometimes their back's against the wall and there's nothing that they can do about it.
Southeast softball coach Mark Redburn, our guest, and their talented freshman, Rachel Anderson, among the OVC leaders in a lot of offensive categories. She is going to join us coming up a little bit later on in the show. Get to hear from the Redhawks slugger. How about the year she has put together for you, Coach? A .401 batting average, and we're talking about this is 48 games into the season, so it's not small sample size. She's a 400 hitter with 10 doubles, 8 triples, and I guess she was a triples machine in high school as well, and 7 home runs. I think she hit 4 as a senior at Edwardsville and has already hit 7 as a freshman at Division I.
Yeah, and it's not easy to come in as a freshman, but then to certainly come in like she has and have the success. And in fact, National Fast Pitch Coaches Association, she's a finalist. It's either top 20 or top 25, for freshman of the year. So she's up against, players from Arizona, Auburn, Mizzou, whatever. And so she's a candidate for that. And, obviously she's going to earn some conference awards as well and regional awards. But, yeah, she's certainly a talented player. And I think right now she's 3rd in the nation right now in triples. And I think the leader has 11 and she's at 8. So who knows, in 2 more games, maybe she can get that.
Triples have kind of been a forte for you. You got 3 players in the top 5 in the conference in triples.
Yeah, and we had another one yesterday and everything. But, fences are getting a little bit deeper now because of the home run and that sort of thing. So, whereas once before you'd see it 190 down the lines, now it's 200 down the line, 205 down the line. Parks have started to stretch out just a little bit, especially with all these, new ones that they're building and things. But we'll absolutely take it. I think it's something that's going to start, impacting the game a little bit for sure.
You're talking about the deeper fences?
Yeah. And it's, you've typically been around 220, but now that's kind of the minimum in center field. So they're even pushing that back a little bit. Home run numbers, are still up there and I think they'll still keep climbing even though they're pushing the fences back. But it's these little things right here, these doubles and triples that I think you'll really see those numbers start to jump.
All right, you still have an opportunity here to make the OVC tournament. You're going to need some help here. Morehead State, I believe, now they're playing Eastern Kentucky over the final weekend. Is that right?
They do. They have Eastern Kentucky,
who's ahead of them in the standings at 9-9. So there is a chance that Eastern Kentucky can help you out. And unfortunately for you, Belmont plays Tennessee State, and Tennessee State's kind of the team that's kind of bringing up the rear. I don't know how much motivation Tennessee's. I'm not going to question their motivation, but they're not playing for a spot in the OVC tournament. So I don't know if you'll get a whole lot of help there, but we don't know. I mean,
exactly.
They jumped on you for 3 runs over the weekend.
I mean, that's why you play the games, and they do have 2 wins. They battled us and everything, and they've been in games this year. And it's just a matter of and I think it's Belmont is at Tennessee State, I believe. So there's some incentive there. I think it's Tennessee State's senior weekend. So I was telling our players that's either motivation or it's something that distracts you, but maybe it'll be something that lifts them up. And I also think that Belmont is playing tomorrow against Murray State. I don't think it's on their schedules, but I think they're trying to play a makeup game. And again, that could be a great advantage for us as well, because Murray State's
10-5,
yeah. So that could be something that helps us. So we're keeping an eye on that. And
if you're Belmont, do you want to play that game?
Yeah, I'm one of those. Like I said, I always want to play the games. And but in that situation with them, it's really not an advantage for them to play the game. But he's a new coach there, and he's kind of an old baseball guy as well, and he wants to play the game. So I believe that if they have the chance to do it and weather cooperates, they'll certainly play it.
Good. Yeah. So there's an opportunity for Murray State, a team that is in 5th place in the league, maybe to hand Belmont a loss, which would be very big for you as they get ready to head to Tennessee State over the weekend. As far as your start to the season, you guys just came out of the gate sprinting. As of March 14th, your record sat at 14-5. After you knocked off Georgia Tech down in Atlanta, you jumped on top of them 6-0, held on for a 6-1 win. What was the big key to get out of the gate so quickly like you did?
Well, this was really kind of the first year that we were able to get out in front with a lot of our recruits. We had a class that came in last year, and they were kind of some, late signees and everything, but this was the first one. And so we brought in 9 freshmen, and then I had 2 other Division I transfers that came in. So we had 11 new players. And, the biggest thing for me was trying to get these kids, because they're talented, that, understanding and learning how to win. And that conference is going to be hard. Some of these other things, that these tournaments that we get in, whether it was KU or whatever, or playing Mizzou and that sort of thing, those are going to be tough. And you want to expose your kids to that. But at the same time, I wanted them to know and understand what it feels like to win at this level. So we kind of built the schedule there. We felt like it was something we could come in and compete with right away. And certainly our players did that. And, then they get kind of thrown to the fire there. And, we play LSU, and LSU has to come back and beat us. We had KU down 5-4 going into the bottom of the 7th. They hit a 3-run walk-off against us. Beat Georgia Tech, like you mentioned, play Mizzou at Mizzou's complex. So those are all things that I think, help your kids to understand what it takes to play at a high level and prepare them for conference. But, that was kind of the mindset behind it. And, I think we've got 10 kids right now, and 9 of the 10 top hitters are either freshmen or sophomores. And so, they're holding their end, and they're battling, and they're doing everything they can. And we just want to keep building on that.
You've been in a lot of close games so far this year. I think you've been involved in 12 one-run games and 10 two-run games. I mean, that's a lot of close competition. I think you're 5-5 in two-run games, 5-7 in one-run games. But how important is it for your players to be involved in situations like that, where one mistake or one clutch hit, clutch defensive play, clutch pitch can win a game?
Yeah, and I think that goes back to kind of our youth, and why you've seen a little bit of this, kind of, up and down in all phases of the game. I mean, Yesterday we turned 3 double plays, in that game against Belmont, and we put 5 runs on the board and that sort of thing. But our pitching just wasn't quite as solid as we wanted it to be, and I think with our youth, that's kind of a normal, natural fit that you get while they're still young until they learn that. So consistency in all phases, is a big thing for us, and that's what they're trying to learn. And offensively, defensively, pitching, base running, that's what they're learning. So, keep working on that and trying to develop that. But yeah, you're right. It's just something that it just takes time.
Just 3 seniors, and unfortunately, Mother Nature wouldn't let you have a senior day. You got your senior day game rained out, and unfortunately, the OVC stuck you on the road for your final 6 games. So you really weren't able to honor your seniors. I'm sure you have internally with the ball club, but in terms of fans coming out to the ballpark and honoring the seniors, unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things with the schedule. In fact, we started on the road. Our first weekend of conference play at Jacksonville State, at Tennessee Tech, and then, like you said, we finish up on the road. So hopefully that flips to our favor here, next year. But
that's the theory, though. They tell you that, right? Hey,
right.
You go road heavy one year, that will work in your favor the next year. Doesn't always happen, though,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. And then going back to the schedule building too, I did that as well because really for the month of April, I wanted us to kind of be home, as much as we could, and for the stretch, and to feel comfortable with it, and hopefully weather would cooperate. But we had an unbelievable start of February, March weather-wise, and then all of a sudden, I know it's April and May showers and all this and that, but we got all this rain. Now I was hoping we're going to be able to play more of these games here at home.
All right, so you go down to Atlanta. Tell us about the trip down there. Were you able to do any sightseeing down in Atlanta? I know Joe Hobbs was saying, did they go over to Stone Mountain? You got to go to Stone Mountain if you're headed down to Georgia.
Yeah, we didn't. We went down there. We hosted a tournament down there. I thought it would be a great idea. We hosted an 11-team tournament down there at the same complex where we hold our conference tournament. And again, I did that because I wanted our kids to get used to that environment. And
I thought it was a smart deal when I heard that you were going to be playing on Chocolaco Field.
Yeah, thank you. And it was just one of those things where we want our kids to get comfortable. And so they did. And, like I said, we brought in 10 other teams, and we stayed down there and competed, got a chance to see some other schools. And then we stayed over and played Georgia Tech and Kennesaw State. And then we flew from there, because it was our spring break, out to KU. And got exposure there with Tulsa and like I said, LSU and KU and everything. But no, we didn't. It was still a great experience, and it was that was road heavy, But again, I did that intentionally as well, because sometimes you spend a lot of time on the road, and you want your kids just to get used to it, and that's the way it is. Or if you got to jump on the bus to make up a game, then it's not that big a deal. So we did that intentionally as well. So.
Well, unfortunately, for some, it has turned into the Jacksonville State Invitational now in football and baseball. Everything is 14 miles from Jacksonville State's campus now at Chocolaco in Oxford. Mm-hmm. Oxford is a place, unless you're staying at the Hampton Inn in Jacksonville, you're staying in Oxford. Exactly. I mean, that's where your hotel is going to be, one of the cluster of hotels that they have there. And that was a very, very smart thing about bringing them down there. Here's what the park looks like. Here's how the field plays. Because let's face it, when you get down there, that is a big advantage for the Gamecocks.
Oh, absolutely. And we even set it up so that when we got down there a day early, we, had a full practice out there on the field and everything like that. And, hopefully we've warmed some hearts from some of those folks. They were outstanding down there, the folks that run the complex, and how they just took care of us. And, just anything that we needed, screens and, batting cage. I mean, they just, really did a great job. And, so again, the thought there is hopefully we get back down there. Maybe we are their stepchild or something like that, and they're pulling for us a little bit more.
All right. I got Jeff Hansa gave me the scenarios here. So we got to run through the scenarios. You get the 8th spot for the tournament. If you sweep Martin, and Belmont and Moorhead each lose once, then you're the 8th seed. So that's certainly doable. Mm-hmm. If you would split, if Belmont and Moorhead are swept, you got the tie break, or at least you're going to be the number 8. And it does not include the game that Belmont plays against Murray.
Correct. Yeah. I sit there and I write all this.
Is that
stuff.
Tomorrow, the Belmont Murray game?
Yeah.
Have we looked at the weather model yet?
Well, it's
dicey.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's dicey, but Yeah, as a coach and you spend this time on the bus and all that, I've looked at this thing, and one of our trainers, Curtis, he's jumped on there and helped me out with the numbers, and we've looked at it all different kinds of ways here. So we're aware of it, and we know that it's a big weekend, and we still got to go out and do what we got to do, and then hopefully get some help.
Your 14-5 start, best to a season since you've taken over. So the scheduling was certainly a big hit, and to expose. I don't know if the game plan is let's have a freshman class as large as 9, but that's the reality. And when you've got that many young players and you have a bunch of sophomores on the team as well, the scheduling can be very big for confidence of younger players. And to get off to a 14-5 start, that had to really help.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, if you look at our statistics, we are better than or equal to our opponents in virtually every single category. Team average, on base percentage, slugging percentage. We have more doubles, more triples, more home runs, more stolen bases, more walks than our opponents. And so then you look at that as a coach and you're like, well, then, why is our record what it is? And I think part of that, like I said, is some of the scheduling that, I put forth there with some of the, whatever Power 5 teams and stuff like that. But obviously we've got a very good conference as well. But, I think it just, like I said, goes back to it's going to take time, for them to learn and understand how to be consistent in their play in all phases of the game. And, it's something they got to learn and just takes time. And we've got a great group of, juniors and seniors that were here, when I arrived, and they've done everything as far as buying into our program and, the things that we want on and off the field. And, great character. I said to Cindy this morning, all of my years of coaching, the kids that we have on this team, these 23, the best, well-meshed, group of players that I've ever had or ever been around.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's saying a lot. It really is. They all just really get along well. They all support each other. So, we're just trying to use all that to our advantage. We got 22 wins, which I think is, 2 or 3 away from, I think, the 2011 team or 12 team that won 25.
2012 team won 25, right.
So, they're winning and they're succeeding. But unfortunately, it's those 2 big categories of W's and L's, that everybody always wants to look at. But they got to look at the fine print sometimes.
Baseball can be dominated by pitching, but it can also be dominated by offense. Softball is a sport that, it is pitching, maybe even more so than baseball. How tough is it to recruit top-level pitchers considering the competition? And now, some of the bigger schools will hoard 2 or 3 players, and, you may try to explain, hey, you may not get the innings you think you're going to get at that program, but you would be the ace of our staff and an all-conference player if you come here. How tough is it to recruit shutdown type pitching?
It is. It's hard because, and I get it. A lot of kids get caught up in the swag or the level of play and everything. And as a coach, you try to be realistic with them and what you think their abilities are going to be. And, are you willing to go to this big, large school, but you're going to be the number 3 or number 4 pitcher? Whereas if you can come to a mid-major or something, you got a chance to be the number 1, and it's hard to convince kids of that stuff sometimes. And that's why a lot of times you're seeing, more and more transfers that are occurring, after a freshman year, after a sophomore year, because then it kind of hits home. And in our sport, we don't have the rule where a softball player has to sit out for a year. They're eligible right away. So you're seeing a lot of that, going on. But also with our sport, we had Mackenzie Holting, one of our pitchers, I think this past weekend or the last 2 weekends combined, she's taken 3 balls off the ankle, foot, shin, and they're a little bit more at risk. The zone up there is inconsistent, umpire quality. There's a lot of really good ones out there, but then there are also some that, struggle a little bit, and that has an impact on your pitching. But that's natural. That happens in baseball also. But pitching's a big deal.
And nowadays, I would think since you don't have to sit out a year in terms of transferring, do you stay kind of real locked into maybe you've invested a lot of time on a player they end up choosing a different school, but in your mind, you think, well, we'll see how that goes. And so you kind of keep a close eye because then you could be a bounce back type transfer scenario.
Yeah, and again, it kind of goes back to that. As coaches, you're always looking at different things, and especially for us, JUCOs and things like that. Although with softball, that's not as prominent. But you're always trying to keep an eye on things and kids that maybe you were recruiting, and how they doing, what's happening with them, with where they're at, and that sort of thing. But I don't know if it's so much for trying to see if you can get them back later on, but you are curious. Here's a kid that I thought would be really successful, and is she being successful? Or here's one that I wasn't quite sure about. Now how's she doing? At the school she's located. So yeah, we keep an eye on that a little bit.
All right, tell us about your star freshman Rachel Anderson, about recruiting her from Edwardsville.
I don't know how to put it. I just I was lucky. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, she plays with a great organization, the Chaos, and Evan Beatty. He's turned a lot of players out, and they're all playing, all over the place, major programs, and just getting a chance to see her play. And I was talking with Evan about it, and it was a little bit late, and kind of what's going on and everything, and I was just fortunate enough, I guess, right timing that she had not committed to anyone yet. And, we brought her in, and, like I said, we were just very fortunate to get her.
So she played for ASA Junior Olympics All-Star team and was the most valuable player there. I will ask her a little bit about some of her experiences, like with the Junior Olympics. But, boy, they start out very young now, don't they, playing softball? I coach my daughter's softball team. It's coach's pitch. She's 8, but she's very little.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that she's going to be very big. But Rachel's not only 5'3". I mean, this is not a sport where you have to be a Hulk, right?
Exactly. And you look around, and the size doesn't have much to do with it. I tell you the biggest thing, it's passion. It's heart. And in talking about and describing Rachel a little bit, I think I was using this analogy earlier today. It's kind of like when you're in 3rd and 4th grade, and you're about 15 minutes or so out from being able to go out on recess, and you're looking at that clock. And that's how she is every single day. I mean, she comes to practice, and she just truly enjoys playing the game. And as a coach, that's extremely refreshing to see. It's like she's on recess when she's out there in practice and games and everything. And she just kind of that personality. And there's truly, I think, it's very apparent that she just loves playing.
And she plays center field for you for the most part?
Yeah, plays center field right away from day one. And, she's got a hose, and she hunts, she communicates. And again, not like necessarily a freshman that you would see. Sometimes they come in a little timid. They don't want to step on other players' toes. But she came in and commanded right away that position. And again, like I said, she's a hunter. And so there's probably a lot of times where teams don't even know, that she's just a freshman just because of her actions out there. So, and she makes those around her better. And like I said, this whole group gets along really well. I think it's 5 freshmen, that we start, and 2 sophomores. So they're getting a lot of experience, and they're all learning to play together. It's a big key.
Well, we'll talk to Rachel Anderson. She is here. She is going to join us after this timeout, and then we'll come back and get some final thoughts from Coach Redburn as well. We're talking Redhawks softball. It is the final spring Redhawks coaches show of the season. We're at Wings, Etc. in Cape. Star freshman Rachel Anderson is going to join us when we come back. It's the Redhawks coaches show on SEMO ESPN.
3 straight top 40 country hits with classics like Reconsider Me and Lonely Teardrops. Tickets are $15 at the gift shop or online at www.islecapegerardo.com. Don't miss the encore drawing at 9 p.m. for a chance to win your share of the $1,000 prize pool. Must be 21. Any and all terms, conditions, rewards, and/or benefits published or received are subject to change or ramification without notice. Eligibility rules and exceptions apply. Refer to official promotional rules. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
The conversation has been growing about Wings, Etc. See, Wings Etc. has those award-winning jumbo wings. They're popular for both dine-in and carry-out. Now, the word is getting out about Wings Etc.'s appetizer lineup. From the ultimate nachos to the deep-fried pickle spears, frankly, they're irresistible. Friends are sharing time together at Wings Etc. They've got dining rooms filled with HD TVs tuned to the best sports programming, including NFL Sunday Ticket. The people at the next table are talking about Wings Etc.'s daily half-pound lunch special, starting at just $6.49. Plus, Wings Etc. has food and drink specials throughout the week, including 59-cent wings every Monday. Plus, there's the kids menu, and Wings Etc. is family-friendly with video games in the dining room. And the whole community is excited about how Wings Etc. is locally owned and operated, and they're proud to support local athletes, their families, schools, and teams. I guess Wings Etc. is a really big deal around here.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
The Mississippi River at Cape Girardeau could reach a record stage on Saturday, but we could see that stage go higher as more heavy rain is expected in the forecast in the days ahead. Sunshine today, 73. Showers likely late tonight, a low near 50. Rain for Wednesday, 62. More rain Thursday, mid-50s. Richard Duettick at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Greenberg for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO ESPN.
Welcome back. It is the Redhawks Coaches Show live from Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau, and it is our final spring coaches show. We had a run of 5, and so this is the 5th and final one. It'll be our last coaches show until we get ready for football. Coach Took will join us as the football season is upon us. Let's see, whatever the week before the first football game is, that's when our next coaches show is. So we're talking spring sports. We have been talking Redhawks softball. And by the way, big Blues hockey game tonight. This is game 4, and it will be at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And it is a must win for the Blues. They trail the Predators 2-1. So if you want to watch it in high definition, you can do it right here at Wings in either Cape or Jackson. Cardinals Brewers tonight. That's at 7:15. So you can get a little flat screen action going. Cardinals on one side at 7:15. Blues will probably drop the puck around 8:45. They say 8:30, but it's closer to 8:45. So plenty of room for you. We've got a seat saved for you at either Wings, Etc. in Cape or Jackson. So come on out. You can watch the games in high definition. Red Hawk baseball will be playing at St. Louis University tonight. 6 o'clock first pitch. You can hear that game on SEMO ESPN 92.9 FM. Red Hawks softball is going to close the regular season at UT Martin, and we're joined by one of the Red Hawks softball players, freshman Rachel Anderson. We are just about over with your first Division I season. How much of a grind is it? Did you think it would be this much of a grind? Tell us about the length of a Division I softball season.
I knew it was going to be hard coming into playing softball or whatever, but from the 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. workouts to practice 3 hours a day, I knew it was going to be a hard grind, but with the help from my teammates, with it being fun with them, overall, it's been a blast, I think.
All right, tell us about the difference between, say, your senior year in high school, what your workout regimen may be like during your senior year versus here it is Division I, 7 a.m. workouts, long practices. How big of an adjustment? How different is it from high school to college?
It's a huge jump. I bet all the freshmen agree with me that senior year of high school, it was fun, it was a blast, playing the sport you loved. Coming to freshman year, you have to grind, you have to work for your spot. It's not going to be handed to you, maybe like how easy it was handed to you in high school. You have a bunch of phenomenal players coming in Division I. And like I said, you have to work hard for your spot. And it was a lot different with workouts from senior year to freshman year, from hardly having a dynamic stretch in high school to having 7 a.m. workouts every day. So I think it's a grind.
And, I don't know how much you focused on nutrition and things of that nature in high school, but it is a focus when you get to the collegiate level, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Very. Like from having Coach Katie or Curtis as our trainer, we didn't have that at all in high school. We had a trainer, but nothing like traveled with us or anything like that. And I thought that was pretty cool just to have someone to help you every step of the way.
Rachel Anderson, outstanding freshman for the Redhawks, and she is close to the top of the OVC leaderboard in a lot of categories. She's 4th in the league in hits as a freshman, leads the league in triples with 8, and you're hitting .401, and we've almost gone through an entire collegiate season. Did you think that as a freshman you would be a .400 hitter in college?
No, I did not. When I come up to the plate, all I'm just trying to think about is getting hit for my team or moving the runners in front of me, stuff like that. When me and my dad were talking, like, I'm not going to keep these numbers up, but I was just like, I'm going to prove you wrong. Let me do this. But it has been hard. I never thought coming into college I'd be a .400 hitter. No, I did not.
Well, and all the power, too. Where'd all this home run power come from?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I have no idea. But from taking extra reps at practice, staying after practice, and hitting more, having Savannah, our student coach, pitching to us and telling me what I'm doing wrong has helped a lot, helped tremendously.
So you get 9 triples as a senior in high school and 4 home runs, and now you've got 8 triples at Division I and 7 home runs. Did you think your home runs were going to jump up at the higher level than high school?
No, I did not. I came into college and I only hit 1 home run throughout my whole select ball season, and that's the game Coach Redburn was there. And coming in here and hitting my first pitch, first at bat, first home run, ever since then I was like, wow, I can do this. Just gave me a boost of confidence. So yeah.
Not just first at bat, first pitch.
First pitch.
First pitch you ever saw you hit a home run.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Yes.
So what was that like? Your first Division I pitch. First of all, let's face it. A lot of times, freshmen, it's a discussion. Let's be a little more aggressive. Let's not take as many pitches. I know that sometimes you really need freshmen to try to be a little more aggressive or selective. That wasn't the case, man. You were swinging at your first pitch. Tell us about it.
Well, Mick was ahead of me. She hit the very first pitch, so I was like, oh, great. I didn't get my timing down. So I came into that bat and saw just a perfect pitch, put a good swing on it, and sprinted around the bases because I was like, oh, my God, I did that. But I did not expect that. I came into the dugout and everyone's like, oh, my God. I was like, yeah, I have no idea how I did that.
So you're in the dugout going, Division I, what's the big deal?
Right.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to go over.
So when did you start playing softball? I know my daughter started with T-ball, and she really loves it, and she's very tiny. She's small, so she packs a big wallop, and she'd probably love to meet you because you're not a really huge softball player. But when did you start playing? Was T-ball the start?
Yeah, T-ball, and I also have an older sister who started playing softball, so I grew up watching her, and I was like, I want to play. I grew up playing T-ball, Corey League. Started with that, and then I started select ball. I think around 6 or 7, I played TMU.
So did you ever play other sports and you just kind of thought, I like softball more, or maybe I'm better at softball more? What made you lean toward playing softball?
Well, I started out playing soccer, but I played till 3rd grade with soccer. I played volleyball throughout middle school and high school. I ran track, but it just seemed like all my effort went into softball. I played select softball in the summer. I didn't focus on any other sport in the summer. Spent a lot of time, a lot of money on lessons, and softball was my sport.
All right. So as you guys come down the stretch here, there are multiple scenarios where you can make the OVC tournament, but at the top of that list is going to UT Martin and winning 1, possibly 2 games. And this is a team that's tied for 2nd place in the OVC. What's the mindset as you guys get ready to go to Martin, Tennessee?
The mindset is to go in and play our hearts out. Just give it our 110%, not only for yourself, but for your team, for our seniors. Seniors only have 2 more games, and I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, that's so devastating, like to only know that you only have 2 more games left. But just go out there, play our game, give our effort. That's all we can do.
So did you grow up in Evansville or Edwardsville?
Yes.
Okay, so we've been there several times for basketball and for baseball over the years. Tell us about growing up in Edwardsville.
I love it. I love being home. Edwardsville's phenomenal. My friends back there, my coaches at home, the high school, District 7. It's like one of the best years of my life, I guess.
You know, you're just enough outside of St. Louis where you're not St.
Mhm.
Louis, but anytime you want to go to St. Louis, it's just kind of right there. It's kind of a perfect setup,
Yeah,
right?
it's like 45-minute drive. It's perfect.
Yeah, as far as the facilities at SIU Edwardsville, as far as the recruiting from the Cougar coaching staff, how much did they focus on recruiting you at SIUE, or did they?
They did a little bit. I took a visit there, but she was interested in me, but she wasn't very interested in me at all. I didn't really want to go that close to home regardless. One, it was like 5 minutes down the road. Two, they don't have a football team. A bunch of my friends from high school were going there. I just wanted to have my own space and start something new, start something fresh.
So you guys played at SIU Edwardsville a couple of weeks ago. What was that like? Now they got you 4-0 and then an extra inning win where they knocked you off. Tell us about what was it like going back to your hometown and playing a Division I softball game.
I was excited. I basically grew up on that field. I went to camps there ever since I was little. So being on that field, being in a Division I jersey uniform, it was just a whole different perspective. Instead of being in the stands and watching and cheering on like the other teams, like I was in that position. And I loved it. I loved every second of it, competing and being with my teammates. I just loved it, I guess, being home.
So do you have extra motivation because they didn't really recruit you as hard as the Redhawks did?
Yeah, we all had motivation, every single one of us, because we were like, they're ranked very high in the OVC, and we just wanted to prove that it doesn't matter where you're ranked, just to compete and be there and play to your top performance.
How'd you do in the series? I didn't pull the box score up.
Against them, I think I was 2 for 6. They have a really phenomenal pitcher who I heard just recently got drafted, Haley Chambers' book. But it doesn't matter, I guess, like how I did, but like the whole team, I think overall did a phenomenal job hitting and making the adjustments at the plate.
So do these lifelong people that live in Edwardsville who probably have always rooted for the Cougars, do you see any of your friends show up with Redhawks shirts on?
Oh, yeah. I had a bunch of like family members, friends back from high school. My high school coaches were there. It was just cool to see them and play for them, I guess.
All right. So your final thoughts here as you guys get ready to head to UT Martin and an opportunity to go down to Oxford, Alabama, play in the OVC tournament. And how cool is it that you guys have already played on that field?
It was phenomenal. It's such a beautiful beautiful place to play, Chocolaca Park. We got there and we were like we took pictures of the grass and how smooth it was. It was just a beautiful place, I think, and I liked how we set up the tournament and played there and got a little feel for it.
Fantastic. Tell us your best Mark Redburn story. We gotta have a Redburn story.
Okay, I have a good one.
All right.
So,
she didn't have to mull it over. She didn't have to give me a second here, anything like that. Go ahead.
Okay, so this past weekend we were in Nashville and we went to Hard Rock Cafe, and that place is a little bit more expensive. And people are getting burgers and like they're $17 or whatever. Well, I got ribs and it was a whole rack, 14 of them, and it was $25. And I didn't know we had a limit. I was just getting what I wanted to eat.
So you got the evil eye from the coach, right?
Oh, he gets the check and he goes, "Who got the $25 ribs?" I was like, "Oh, crap." That was me. And our Coach Jones was like, "You better go 3 for 4 with a home run this next game." And I was like, "Okay." And then I hit one over and I was like, "That's why I ate the ribs." That's why.
That is good stuff. All right. Well, the ribs don't cost $25 here, by the way. So if you want to walk out of here with some smoked ribs, we can set you up with that. Rachel, it was a blast meeting you. You did a great job, and best of luck at UT Martin. Congratulations on a great freshman season.
Thank you.
Rachel Anderson, Redhawks star freshman. And we are going to continue our conversation with Coach Mark Redburn. We'll wrap the coaches show up with Coach Redburn when we come back to Wings, Etc. in Cape on SEMO ESPN.
Isle Casino Cape Girardeau presents Narvel Phelps, Sunday, May 28th at 6 p.m. He's had 23 straight top 40 country hits with classics like Reconsider Me and Lonely Teardrops. Tickets are $15 at the gift shop or online at www.islecapegirardeau.com. Don't miss the encore drawing at 9 p.m. for a chance to win your share of the $1,000 prize pool. Must be 21. Any and all terms, conditions, rewards, and/or benefits published or received are subject to change or ramification without notice. Eligibility rules and exceptions apply. Refer to official promotional rules. Gambling problem? Call 1-888-BETS-OFF.
The conversation has been growing about Wings Etc. See, Wings Etc. has those award-winning jumbo wings. They're popular for both dine-in and carry-out. Now, the word is getting out about Wings Etc.'s appetizer lineup. From the ultimate nachos to the deep-fried pickle spears, frankly, they're irresistible. Friends are sharing time together at Wings Etc. They've got dining rooms filled with HD TVs tuned to the best sports programming, including NFL Sunday Ticket. The people at the next table are talking about Wings Etc.'s daily half-pound lunch special, starting at just $6.49. Plus, Wings Etc. has food and drink specials throughout the week, including 59-cent wings every Monday. Plus, there's the kids menu, and Wings Etc. is family-friendly with video games in the dining room. And the whole community is excited about how Wings Etc. is locally owned and operated, and they're proud to support local athletes, their families, schools, and teams. I guess Wings Etc. is a really big deal around here.
And now, your ESPN Radio Network local weather forecast.
The Mississippi River at Cape Girardeau could reach a record stage on Saturday, but we could see that stage go higher as more heavy rain is expected in the forecast in the days ahead. Sunshine today, 73. Showers likely late tonight, a low near 50. Rain for Wednesday, 62. More rain Thursday, mid-50s. Richard Duettig at the Weather Channel.
You're up to date with the latest weather forecast right here on the ESPN Radio Network.
This is Mike Golick for the best in local sports talk and play-by-play. It's SEMO, ESPN.
It is the final segment here for the Redhawks Coaches Show from Wings Etc. in Jackson, and we certainly thank Wings Etc., Joe Hobbs and his wife, and everybody here at Wings Etc. for all of their hospitality. It's been our pleasure to be a part of the Coaches Shows. And, of course, we're talking some Redhawks softball. Coach Mark Redburn is here. We got a chance a little while earlier to talk with Rachel Anderson, one of the Redhawks star hitters. Can you imagine, though, maybe players coming in and in a full Division I season, a freshman hitting 400?
No. And you hear some of those things and you're watching other games and some of those, commentators that talk about that kind of stuff. And, they're pretty shocked and amazed when they see, like you said, she's gone through an entire season here and she's, stayed above 400. And so, yeah, it's not easy to do. It's pretty difficult, especially somebody with experience, and they kind of know what to expect, and they've got scatter reports, they've got video on pictures and things. And, sometimes, again, a freshman coming in, they're just a little blind to it all. And so, yeah, it is. She's certainly talented, no doubt about it.
How much of a scouting report can you get prior to, let's just, for instance, UT Martin? Probably all about who you're going to see on the mound. But in terms of exposing some of your players, maybe to some video, maybe to a little bit of an extensive scouting report of what you're going to see in your doubleheader coming up, how much of a scouting report can you get these days?
We can get just about anything, whether it's from, other opponents and things like that. But the big thing for us right now is, everything's on, media, digital media. I mean, whether it's the OVC network or the SEC network and, all these other conferences now that have their own networks. The video is just so easy to get that you don't spend as much time necessarily on scouting reports. But, a lot of our players are all different. Sometimes kids, want that information. And sometimes I think some of our players, get a little bogged down by it. And, you just got to be careful about that as a coach. So it's more of an individualized basis on what they want to see as far as a pitcher and who they're going to face and tendencies and things like that. But, then you get some kids that, they can get the barrel where they need to. And, at certain counts or whatever the case may be, and they don't necessarily need to know or tendencies and things.
Brooke Kennedy What can you tell us about her? Because it looks like that is the pitcher that you're going to be squaring off with this weekend.
Yeah, the big thing about Martin is that they're aggressive at the plate. They're aggressive on the bases. They're solid defensively. She's a good pitcher. But, we were talking about that a little earlier. I think, their strength right now as a team is really what they do besides just the pitching.
They lead the league in runs scored with 289. That's a big number.
Yeah, and they're extremely high in stolen bases also, even on the national level. So they're gonna run the bases, So the big key for us is, try to keep them off. And
so they have 140 stolen bases.
Yeah, that's phenomenal.
70 more than the next team who has 70 stolen bases, which is SIU Edwards. That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I thought we had a lot. I think we're near 60 or something here, or 62. Yeah. But it is. So the key is you just got to keep those people off base and do what you can to force them to put balls in play, and hopefully we can make plays defensively.
What do you do personally to at least slow down potentially a running game?
Well, like first thing is, like I said, is, attack them at the plate, try to go to their weakness and force them to do something that they're, is not a strength. And then, we've got some defensive coverages and things like that we put in to try and maybe hold a runner a little bit or delay him a little bit. But, a lot of it just still comes down to your catcher and your middles being able to get there or whatever the case may be, or, a throw in from the outfield, not letting a runner go first to third on you or whatever. And just going back to, again, the basics and the fundamentals, and runner at second base, if she's going to score, let her score, but keep the hitter off of second base, and so therefore not throwing the ball all the way into a relay or four. And so, a lot of that, again, is just, our youth and getting them to understand why not every play at home plate is an important play. Sometimes it's more important to keep the hitter off second base.
Yeah, always keep the double play in order.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's kind of some of that stuff, too, that they have to learn that we were talking about. It's not just playing the game they've always played. It's now playing it at a higher level and having to think a little bit more about, that run means nothing by scoring, but now that hitter potentially is a tying run or go ahead run, so keep her off a second, So, that's what we spend a lot of our time on. So we've got, like I said, great team and great youth. And, Ashley Ellis is here in the house also, our freshman starting at first base, and, 2 sophomores up the middle and a sophomore in right, and Rachel in center there, and freshman there in left field, and then a couple of juniors on the corner and behind the plate, and Maddie pitching, and we got a freshman pitcher in here as well. So, we've got a lot of good players and experience and age, and we're just gonna keep getting better as we go.
Tell us a little bit about your coaching staff, Kristen Jones and Bree Carmack.
Yeah, both coaches. Kristen is here; she's in the house also. So she does a great job. Works with our catchers, and I tell you, she's phenomenal. Handles our things off the field as well. And I know I'm not easy to be around at times, but all our hotels and travel and restaurants, and especially with our players really seem to gravitate towards her, and she does it all. She does our laundry, so she's really a great player, or person that our players can, approach and get some help with on different things, our academic side. And then Aubrey Carmack is new to our staff this year, and so she's kind of coming in and she works with our outfielders, kind of learning our system, learning our school, getting to know the players, coaches first base for us, does our scouting reports and spray charts and things like that. So, maybe we can take some of those duties off of Coach Jones here after this year.
I was going to say,
once we get Coach Carmack a little bit more.
Once you described everything that she does, I mean, I know in some other sports, they split that up into about 2 or 3 different coaches or managers, the laundry, and people don't understand, especially with the travel arrangements. You've got to get the hotels set up and then Are the keys ready when you get off the bus?
Yeah, it's Coach Jones also.
Everybody's looking around. Hey, where are the keys? And then where are we eating? And is the food being delivered to the ballpark, or is it coming to the hotel? What are we doing after the game? Are we getting stuff delivered to the bus? And the players just show up and everything is kind of set up.
You are spot on.
People are working hard to make sure all that stuff happens.
Absolutely. You are spot on with all of those things. And that's the thing, people don't see because, you get to the park 2 hours or so in advance, but then you're going to play a doubleheader. So, your players are starting to get hungry. So it's those little things about having meals delivered in between games and then paying for them and, all those kinds of things. But no, I was just trying to get Coach Carmack a little bit more, adjusted to everything here first. But we're going to certainly relieve Coach Jones of some of those duties. And then our trainer Curtis was here in the house also. But I've said this, we had our team meeting, our little gathering after that senior night last week. And I've been in a lot of different programs, been around a lot of different trainers, but Curtis, he's by far the best trainer I've been around and we've had. We are extremely fortunate. Again, you ask our players, he is always accessible and he goes above. There's no, 8 to 5. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. I mean, and as a coach, again, that's just something you just greatly appreciate. He's done a phenomenal job.
And what was that like flying with this group? Because going to an airport, getting through security, keeping everybody together and it's one thing to travel by bus. It's quite another thing to head to an airport and travel a team.
Yeah, I made sure I was like up in the front of the plane because I didn't want to be back there in the back. But no, we did have, I think, 1 or 2 players that haven't flown before. And
there's always a couple, right?
Yeah, and I think they were a little nervous. Rachel may have been one of them. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's always an experience. But it's all of this that we do. Again, is about part of the experience of being a Division I player and what you try to expose them to and, what we can do and that sort of thing. So it's always fun to see them grow and develop. And, it's funny to see some of those that haven't flown before, whatever the case may be. But I can't say enough about them. They're great kids, great kids.
All right. We wish you the best of luck this weekend. 22 wins, most in 5 years in Redhawks softball, and they will try to lock up a spot in the OVC tournament. Down in Jacksonville or in Oxford, Alabama, the Jacksonville Invitational coming up. And certainly we wish you the best against UT Martin. Hopefully we get a little help from Eastern Kentucky and Tennessee State, and maybe even Murray State if they get that game in.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to be following that closely for sure.
Thanks so much, Coach. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Greatly appreciate it.
Great to hear from Coach Mark Redburn. Best of luck to the softball Redhawks as they try to lock down their spot for the OVC tournament. And it's only a 2-hour drive for them this weekend as they head over to Martin, Tennessee. Don't forget, Red Hawk baseball will be playing at 6 o'clock tonight. They'll be at St. Louis University. We'll broadcast that game on SEMO ESPN 92.9. Again, thanks to everybody who makes all of our shows possible here at the Coaches Show, especially Dean Field, our chief engineer behind the scenes. He does all of the heavy lifting. Mike Rennick, Stephen Kennedy as well. We certainly thank all of them for all of their help. And Jonathan Boodle as well. We certainly appreciate all of the help behind the scenes that you do not see. And Joe Hobbs and his family for inviting us to be a part of the Red Hawks Coaches Show. We've got Russillo and Cadell coming up on ESPN Radio for a final time. So long, everybody, from Wings in Cape.
Southeast Missouri's ESPN Radio Sports Network, 92.9 KLSC Malden, 1220 KGIR Cape Girardeau, and 1470 KMAL Malden.
I know it's 11 points. That's not what it was last night. And I'm like,